Thanks, Hannah. Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to this information session for the Global Business Innovation Programme USA. Some housekeeping before we start. We are recording the session today, and we will be uploading the recording onto the Innovate UK EDGE website as a reference point for those of you attending today, as well as for people who aren't able to attend as well. There is a link in the chat, there will be a link in the chat to the page on Innovate UK EDGE website, which provides access to the key documents for the programme, including the application form, and we'll also have a link to the recording for this session when it's added next week. Next slide, please, Hannah. So the objective of this information session today is to provide as much information as possible about the programme, with particular focus on the application, what participants can expect from the programme. I'm pleased to welcome colleagues and guests today. John Hazel, Partnership Manager for North America from Innovate UK, and Mark Gorham, Programme Manager at Innosphere Ventures. So the agenda for today, John will provide an introduction to Innovate UK and its global programmes. I will run through the application process and logistics for the programme, and Mark will cover the programme in more depth in terms of when it visits Denver, including the Industry Growth Forum that we'll be visiting, the investor pitch competition that takes place at the Industry Growth Forum, and the business matchmaking support for participants that join the programme. Finally, we'll have allocated time at the end for a Q&A, and during the session, please feel free to drop any questions into the chat and we'll pick them up at the end of the session. So to start off today's session, I'm going to hand over to John Hazel to talk you through the support available from Innovate UK.
Thanks, Dean, and good morning, everyone, and or good afternoon. Good morning in some areas. Yeah, thanks very much for joining us today. So I'm John Hazel, as Dean said. I'm the Partnership Manager for North America, and I support our global programs in the US, but also I also support our Global Incubator program as well in various other parts of the world. So if you do have an interest in our global programs, then please follow me on the Twitter link, and you'll see various different postings. But before I start, I'm just going to go through, a bit about Innovate UK. For those of you that don't know, UKRI, UK Research Innovation, brings together all of our 7 research councils, but it also includes Innovate UK and Research England. Next slide, please. And Innovate UK is the UK's innovation agency, and our job is quite simple. Everything we do is all about supporting business-led innovation in all sectors, technologies, and regions of the UK. Next slide, please. We do this in 3 ways, 3 I's: inspire, involve, and invest. Inspire is about making the opportunity visible and compelling for various people in the marketplace. Second is involve, and bring all the relevant organisations and people together. And then invest is convening our resources, whether that be funding or various other interventions. Next slide, please. So why we're all here, innovation is the lifeblood of business. Business innovation is the commercially successful application of ideas, and it helps lead to UK growth and prosperity. Next slide, please. And to innovate, companies need to do a lot of things. There's a few there that are listed. It's have a good idea, understand all your customers, find the right business model, manage your IP, etc., etc. There's a lot that needs doing, and I'm sure you could all add to the list. I think we all understand innovation is inherently difficult. We need to do it, but there can be barriers. Next slide, please. To help remove those barriers, that's really why Innovate UK exists. And so far, throughout all of our programs, this is a quick snapshot of what we've managed to deliver. So we've invested over £4.6 billion since 2007, which has helped run a number of different competitions, supported projects, supported companies, and essentially, helped grow jobs within the region and added value back to the economy. Simply, for every £1 that we invest, we give £7 back to the economy through our programs. Next slide, please. Recently, we've just released our plan for action, which if you're interested, you can download it and see what we're doing across all of our strategic themes and programs. But the reason I wanted to highlight this is that global opportunities are one of our key strategic themes, which is why we're here today. Next slide, please. And the reason for going global, really, it's all about trying to help UK business and understand new markets, gain insights and help you explore those opportunities abroad, build an understanding of the culture, laws, legislation, and really look at your target market and really help, de-risk your innovation and support your business when going abroad. We do that through all these various programs, but we also support funding, working with colleagues in ODA and Eureka and what was the EU Horizon Europe program. Next slide, please. This slide just gives a summary of our global tools. On the left-hand side with the green bits at the bottom highlighting the KTN, our global scoping workshops and expert missions. These are all about us trying to understand what the opportunities are within the different regions. And from those, we then launch our interventions, which are on the right-hand side. So we have 3 major interventions. One is the Global Business Innovation Programme, which we're here to talk about today, which is all about supporting a group of businesses to explore opportunities to try and get collaboration partners within specific technology areas in a country. Second, we have the Global Incubator Programme, which is a more intensive version of the GBIP programme. This really helps those companies understand the market in a lot more detail by working with an incubator in country between 4 and 6 months. And then we also have our bilateral funding programs, which enable ourselves and partner countries to put in funding to support companies to collaborate and develop new innovations together, funded by us. Next slide, please. It's my last slide. So, the opportunities for global, why are we interested in it? Well, 99% of the population live elsewhere and 97% of the worldwide GDP is elsewhere. So going global is a great opportunity, which I'm sure is why you're all here today. So thank you very much for your interest, and I'll let Ian now talk in more detail about the programme. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. So I'm just going to run through now the application process and also some logistics for the programme. So this Global Business Innovation Programme will visit Denver in Colorado in May 2023, and we're looking to recruit a cohort of 12 to 15 companies for this programme, and it is a competitive application process. The programme will visit the National Renewable Energy Laboratory Industry Growth Forum in Denver, which is a leading growth networking conference, but there will also be other site visits to companies and organisations that form the ecosystem of clean growth in the Colorado area. Mark will cover in more detail later in the presentation, the Industry Growth Forum. I'm moving on to my next slide, please, Hannah. I'll just talk through the eligibility requirements. So we're looking for businesses that are established in the UK, but with ambitions to internationalise, particularly in the US. We're looking for companies to be innovation focused and in the clean growth sector. There's a broad range of clean growth sectors highlighted for this programme, including renewables, sustainable transport, energy efficiency, energy systems integration, carbon capture utilisation, and agri-tech. The Industry Growth Forum itself has quite a broad range of sector themes as well, and Mark will talk about those later in his slides. In terms of commitments, we're looking for companies or individuals to complete all activities in person. That means attending pre-visit and post-visit workshops to help with the preparation for the visit and also for the follow-up activities once you've been to the marketplace. And we're also companies to look to visit the market and take part in a visit to Denver in May 2023. The plan is for it to be a physical visit, so we're looking for companies to be part of that visit next year. Next slide, please. So what can companies expect from the programme? We put a lot of work in the front end at Innovate UK EDGE for helping companies get ready for the programme. So we'll run some workshops early next year, preparation workshops to help build understanding and knowledge of the market, some of the opportunities, how to do business, the culture aspects, and training and articulating your value proposition and pitch as well. Then we have the visit to the marketplace, which is 5 days of market-related activity. This allows you to explore the opportunities firsthand through meeting key companies and organisations, potential collaboration partners, to arrange meetings and organise matchmaking. As I said earlier, this will include a 2-day visit to the Industry Growth Forum. There will be an opportunity to apply for an investor pitch competition at the Industry Growth Forum as well, which Mark will talk about a little bit later. And also there'll be facilitated matchmaking meetings at the Industry Growth Forum as well. So all in all, it's quite a comprehensive package of support for companies that are looking to go on this programme. It's important to note that whilst there is a strong investment theme at the Industry Growth Forum, it doesn't have to be for companies that perhaps are not looking for investment that they don't have to take part in this initiative. There is matchmaking support available for companies which aren't looking for investment, but perhaps want to visit Colorado and Denver, and also the Industry Growth Forum as well. And we'll cater for those types of companies who've got different objectives from raising finance. And finally, exploiting the opportunity. We'll run a one-day workshop after the visit is taking place with your Innovate UK EDGE advisor or growth specialist to help you take advantage of those opportunities, making sure they're linking you to follow-on support, which is available from Innovate UK EDGE, and the broader ecosystem of business support to make sure you capitalise on those opportunities. Next slide, please, Hannah. So in terms of the itinerary, we're expecting to depart on the 30th of April. On the 1st of May, which is the Monday, we'll be visiting the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. So we'll have a tour around that facility, which I believe is a fantastic facility in Denver. On the 2nd and 3rd of May, we'll visit the Industry Growth Forum. So 2 days at that conference. And then we'll arrange some visits and meetings with other organisations in the clean growth ecosystem. So some of the suggestions that we're working with at the moment might encompass organisations such as the Colorado Clean Tech Association, the Hydrogen Hub in Fort Collins, and the Colorado Hydrogen Network as well. But it depends on the makeup of the group in terms of the participants on the programme, how we'll filter that into particular site visits. But there's quite a strong ecosystem of clean growth organisations in Denver and the wider Colorado area. So I'm sure we'll have some great visits to sites on the 4th and 5th. Innovate UK will fund all the activities.
It sounds like we're losing Ian. Not sure if you can hear me, Ian, but your screen is frozen and we can't hear you.
Glad you said that, John. I thought it was me.
Yeah, I think it's all of us. We'll just give him a moment to maybe just rejoin. Maybe I'll just give him a call. Apologies, everyone, for the technical issues.
I think I'm back. Apologies, I lost connection there.
You're back. Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I'm not sure where I got to. If someone can remind me, and I can just pick up there.
Visits and meetings with organizations.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so we're meeting organisations in the clean growth ecosystem in Denver. So in terms of what support Innovate UK will provide, aside from the preparation in market and post-visit report, Innovate UK will fund the travel and accommodation costs for companies participating on the programme. Also included will be entrance fees into the Industry Growth Forum, and also support for companies wishing to participate in the investor pitch competition, support around the application process, and also the matchmaking at the Industry Growth Forum as well. So it's a package of support. It's a really fantastic opportunity for companies to not only visit the market, but to get really intensive preparation support, both in the UK and for the visit to the US. Next slide, please. So in terms of timelines for the programme, what we're looking at here is a application deadline of the 21st of October. So it's roughly about 3 weeks from now. We'll be looking to confirm the cohort of participants on the 28th of October. And if any companies are wishing to go for the investor pitch competition, we'll start helping those companies in November prepare their applications with the support of Market Innosphere Ventures. Then we'll run pre-visit workshops prior to the departure in May, which will probably take place in February and March. And then we'll have the market visit during sort of late April, early May, and the post-visit workshop a couple of months later, or a few months later, probably in October 2023. So all participants will be allocated an Innovate UK EDGE advisor once we get those participants confirmed, and then we'll work with you with developing a focused program plan in terms of what you want to get out of the program and what support you'll need from us and also the team in America. Next slide, please. So what will a good application look like? So a good application will have many questions, or in terms of the application form does have many questions, but it focuses on 4 main areas. Those areas are demonstrating a clear climate sustainability impact for your product, technology or service. So what we're looking for here are details on the measurements used to demonstrate that impact. What metrics are there in the examples, case studies, projects, pilot projects that you've delivered with customers, partners, just to give us a feel of the potential impact on the climate or sustainability of the project. We're looking also as well for organizations to clearly explain the size of the market problem and the impact of that problem on the customer compared to other solutions. So how does your technology, service, product solve the problem of the market? What's the value proposition? Can you demonstrate the growth potential of the technology? What size of the problem is it in globally, or in the US market, for example? And give us an understanding what the competition is like, what the competitive landscape is for that technology. Is it unique? The next section is demonstrating why is now a good time to enter the US market. Why? What do you already know about the market? What don't you know? Where are the gaps? And also what types of organization you wish to connect with during the visit. What relationships do you want to cultivate? Be specific, not general. So if you say that you want to meet partners, who are those partners? Which organizations? To give us a feel of the types of organizations you're looking to visit, to help us start to map out and plan who you'd like to see when you're over there. And then what we're looking for is an idea that there's a plan being formed. We don't expect that plan for the market to be fully refined and fully developed. It's going to need support. You're visiting the market potentially for the first time, but what does that strategic view look like at the moment for your company? And what support do you need to perhaps develop that further? And that's what we're looking for in the application. So the application is a fairly clear, concise document, but those are the 4 main sections where we'll be marking the scoring, if you like, for the companies that do apply for the program. So we're looking for clarity of answers with support and evidence and some clear rationale. So I think that's me covered for this section. Please feel free to drop any questions into the chat and I'll pick them up at the end. But now I'd like to hand you over to Mark.
Thank you, Ian, and I'll apologize in advance for my accent. I'll try to speak clearly. So if anybody can't understand me, and just throw it in chat and we'll try to pick it up as we go forward. I'm representing both the Innosphere Ventures, that's the organization I work with, and the National Renewable Energy Lab. Kate is a part of this process. She couldn't make it today, but she sends her greetings and looks forward to meeting you. Next slide, please. So this is the forum that we're talking about. It is an international forum. It's been in operation for over 20 years. The meetings will take place in Denver, downtown, May 2nd and 3rd of 2023. And what we're going to talk about is a process where we're going to help you to have the best possible experience here at the forum. There's just a question in chat. Is there possibilities to collaborate with NREL? NREL, Kate is on the line. So I'll just answer that question, and then Kate, if you'd like, you can jump in or I'll continue. But is there an opportunity to collaborate? NREL does collaborate with many international companies and has over the years. So yes, there is an opportunity to collaborate. During the visit, you'll see all of the different areas that NREL works with. But yeah, there is an opportunity, and I work with several other organizations, and we're constantly looking for ways to collaborate with the NREL researchers. Often that's in a formal contract, but sometimes it's informal. So yes, Kate, if you'd like to talk, let me know, or I will continue. And maybe she doesn't have a good connection, so I'm going to give her 10 seconds and then I will continue if she says no. She's muted, I see that. All right,
Hi,
let's
Mark.
go to the next.
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
do you want to take the slides, Kate?
Sorry, sure, thank you.
All right, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Moore. I manage strategic partnerships on behalf of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center at NREL. It's great to be here today. We run the IGF, Industry Growth Forum, out of our center, in addition to a number of other innovation programs that really seek to make the lab more accessible to the startup community, to be able to utilize our fantastic resources here at NREL to help you further develop, test, validate technologies in order to prep for follow-on investment and then get deployed. So yes, in terms of answering your question, we absolutely partner. We have over 900 partnerships. We are an applied laboratory. So our mission includes making sure that we can get tech to market in addition to all of the great science and technology research that we do. So I'm happy to go through these slides to talk about the IGF today. So the IGF, it's been around for almost, I guess, maybe over 30 years now. And it really brings together the ever-evolving, motivated investor community to connect them with cutting-edge clean tech startups, ultimately to catalyze actions, including investment and partnership opportunities and collaborations. It's a wonderful event, and we're excited to continue to hold it in person again next year. Next slide, please. So we track the impact of our presenting companies, and collectively they have raised over 11 billion in follow-on external capital since presenting at the IGF. Next slide, please. So the IGF is focused on 3 components: the pitch presentations, one-on-one meetings where you as entrepreneurs have the opportunity to sign up for over 10 or a dozen 15-minute meetings with seated investment professionals. We include over 150. We may include more next year if we can accommodate it at the hotel. And then there is the opportunity to exhibit, have a table, display table to showcase, maybe your prototype if it can fit, or signage so that you can claim a place and conduct conversations. Next slide, please. So just to kind of go over the IGF, our approach is we recruit applications from entrepreneurs around the world through December. Then simultaneously, we are recruiting a selection committee made up entirely of investors. We have about 150 investors that ultimately help us review, score, and select the 40 companies that will be selected to present at the actual event. In January, we have a webinar for applicants to help them get prepped for the pitch. We announce the presenters about February. Before the event, we assign startup mentors and coaches as requested to make sure that everyone's able to take full advantage of the IGF. And we like to describe the IGF as a 6-month program that culminates in a 2-day event because of all of the advanced work that goes into this to make sure that it's of high value for all participants. Next slide, please. So here are some of the nitty-gritty details. Here is a link to our application platform. The deadline to apply is December 6th. Midnight. In order to be considered, there is an application fee, which includes a registration ticket to attend for one. Next slide, please. So what happens at the IGF? You're able to network with over 500 other startup founders, investors, and clean tech experts. As I mentioned, there is an investor speed dating that we schedule at the very beginning of the conference in order to kick off those conversations. So in advance of the meeting, you're able to sign up for one-on-one meetings. If you apply, then you get first dibs on requesting those meetings. So another value proposition to apply. And really those one-on-ones kind of set the tone. It's a great way to introduce yourself to investors, meet investors, and it's enough time to see if there's more to explore, or maybe it's not a good fit with the investor. It's a fantastic component of the IGF, which is always greatly appreciated. And then certainly the startup presentation competition. So there's 4 tracks, 10 companies each. I'll get into like what the makeup of those presenters are, but ultimately the winner, there are 3 winners that get selected and they receive up to 40 hours of technical assistance from NREL, as well as a lot of notoriety and publicity for being selected. Next slide, please. So I mentioned a few of these benefits. You get that of applying, you get that free or that included registration as part of your application fee. You get comments and reviews from investors and industry experts that are reviewing your application. You get that early access to sign up for the one-on-one networking session, participate in webinars on pitch coaching and financial education from some of our sponsors, and then the opportunity to compete for Best Venture, Outstanding Venture, or People's Choice. So just a reminder, the application review is mid-December to February, and we notify presenters in February. Next slide, please. So eligibility to apply. We are quite broad in what we consider climate tech. So companies aimed at minimizing waste, improving the efficient use of resources, generation of clean energy, decarbonization, ag tech, circularity, grid resiliency, sustainable production of materials. Those are all included. You must be a legally registered entity. You must be in the process of raising capital by the end of this year. You need to have a prototype. It has to be beyond an idea. And the other constraint is just you can't be a publicly traded company. So that leaves quite a bit of room in between. We also ask that you have not presented at the IGF in the past 2 years. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of capping all of the types of different technologies, quite broad, even extending to some degrees beyond even NREL's focus areas to include the broader climate tech ecosystem. Next slide, please. So the 4 tracks include early stage. So that's at a minimum, you have MVP, a minimal viable product, commercialization stage. You have some sound validation for commercial scale production, growth stage, you're generating some revenue, there's some adoption in place. And then new this year is a software track. So we really want to have the first 3 tracks focused on hardware technologies. Those are the hardest to gain financing, given their often capital intensive nature. But we absolutely recognize the role that software technologies play in enabling a clean tech, climate tech future. So there's a whole wealth of technologies that fit within this category as well that we've defined on our website. Next slide, please. And just to round out, we certainly track past presenters and highlight some of the success stories. We're really proud of the track record that we have and the ability to support great companies, give them a spotlight, help connect them with capital, partners, and ecosystem support players to help give the companies what they need, where they are in their stage of development, and rocket them to success. So these are some of our past presenters. I think the next slide includes a few more as well. And I think that concludes my portion. Thank you very much. Mark, I think over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Nice job. I have to say that I am a huge fan of the NREL International Growth Forum, Industry Growth Forum. It is really I think the finest event in the world that allows startups and scale up clean tech companies to meet with and pitch investors. So if that's you, if you're looking to raise money, boy, you really need to seriously consider this. I'm going to cover what's expected for people who apply to this program. There's two things you can do. You can choose to apply to present, like Kate said, and be one of those 40 companies that get selected to pitch to the overall community. If you do choose to present, then you're going to fill out the application. You're going to do a draft. It's about 1 to 2 hours. If you have a business plan, it's going to be very easy. And I assume that just about everybody has a business plan. Oops. Yep. Stay right with that one. Thank you. Then there'll be 1 to 4 sessions with me. Maybe your application is perfect. If it is, great. That'll be 1 session. Maybe we need to do some work on it. Why do you want to work with me? I've been attending the International Industry Growth Forum both as a CEO and an investor over the last 12 years. And so as an investor, I sit on that review board that looks at the applications and chooses the top 40. So I know which areas you need to really hit hard, and I'll make sure that whatever is in your pitch, it's the best possible for the investors. So that's what we'll do in those 1 to 4 sessions. And then if you're chosen, then I'll work with you again, 1 to 3 sessions to fine tune the pitch, because I like the companies that come to win. I do this also with the Canadian with Canada. And so we've had several winners from Canada. We've had several winners from Colorado that I've coached, and I like to win. So I want you guys to win. So that's what we'll do if you choose to apply to present. You also get all the benefits that Kate said about early access to who's coming, lots and lots of publicity, and a discounted rate. So I would encourage you, if you're looking to raise money, to apply to present, but you don't have to. If you're just going to attend and you want to pitch to investors, we're going to do the second bullet, which says just attending the IGF. And if you choose to apply to present, you'll do this with me too. So we'll prepare an investor one page. This is speed dating. And I have to tell you, I've done it. I did it in 2009. And I kind of did it because I was raising money. I was looking pretty good, but I said, well, I'll go. It's here. Sounded kind of silly to me. I pitched to 9 investors, had 3 immediate callbacks. So I don't know anywhere else in the world, since I've pitched to a lot of different investors. And usually it's a painful process of trying to get on their radar screen, first of all, then trying to get in their calendar.
I'm here. Don't lock it, I'm here.
Ashima, I think you want to mute if you can. Thank you. But anyway, here you can talk to 12 during the speed dating morning session. And actually, NREL has a really nice app on your phone that lets you schedule meetings beyond the half-day investor speed dating. So it's possible, actually, if investors stay, to connect with them beyond that meeting. And I've had companies have 18 different investor meetings. So it's really, I mean, I just don't know anywhere else you can do that in a short session. We'll then help you prepare the investor speed dating pitch. And speed dating is, as it sounds, you'll be sitting in a big room with over 100 tables. You may be 10 feet apart from the next table. And so you really need to have a very focused and really targeted pitch to the investor. So we'll help you work on that speed dating pitch, and we'll actually practice that pitch to make sure you're doing it as well as you can. And then we're going to help you review and schedule investor meetings. Typically, the investors start to sign up, and NREL posts who's coming in March, I believe. And you want to get on their schedules as soon as possible, because as you can imagine, there's hundreds of companies trying to connect with these investors, and their schedules fill up. If you apply to present, you get early access. So that's good. But if you don't apply to present, still, we want you to start to sign up as soon as possible. And what I do is I go through all the investors. I profile who's interested in your particular category of technology and what kinds of investments they're looking for. for those of you who have been through a meeting with investors before, if you're looking for $1 million and the minimum ticket that a VC wants to make is $5 million, that's a waste of time for both of you. So we'll make sure that you're targeting investors who care about your technology and are looking for the amount of money you're trying to raise. And then we'll help you we'll be at the event. We'll help you to, if you have anything you need, hey, we'll help you make the connections and have a good meeting. Next slide. So, like I said, we'll help you craft the pitch application, and the deadline is the 6th of November. So we'll start in 6th of December. So we'll start in November, and then we'll help you fine tune the pitch, craft the one-pager, identify the investors, and then on-site support. And for those of you who like beer, I know spent a lot of time with companies and colleagues in the UK. I think just in Denver, there are over 100 microbreweries. There's also the big Coors site out in Golden. So there's plenty of opportunity to have some fun as well as to do some networking and move your business forward. There's a question from Christian Boyle. Would you recommend a CEO attend or somebody else? I think that if you're pitching to investors, they really invest not only in the technology and the market, but in the team. So if you are a CEO and can make it, I would strongly suggest that. If you can't, it's still good to go. But again, if there's a choice, should a CEO go or not, I'd recommend the CEO attend. And I believe that's it for me for slides.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Kate. Very informative slides there on background to the Industry Growth Forum, which sounds like a fantastic event. So I'm now going to just open the floor to any questions. If you'd like to raise your hand, then we'll take any questions that you wish to have. Stephen? You got you on mute.
I'm on mute. I'm off mute. I was actually just typing, so you've saved me a lot of laborious typing. Just on that, the typical investors that turn up, are they just basically money men, or are they likely to be potential partners, engineering partners, companies that want to actually get involved in manufacturing over there?
Do you want me to take that, Kate, or do you want it?
I'm happy to take it. Yeah, great question. We involve the broad investment community, and certainly strategics are a part of that mix, and they're increasingly coming to us wanting to get involved because they understand the role that they will play. In addition to capital, there's also all of the process know-how, scale-up know-how that industry brings to the table. So I would say we have venture capitalists, we have corporate venture capitalists, we have corporate private equity, we have foundations, we have basically everyone that's investing in this space.
So, well, a follow-up question would be then, what about protection of IP and confidentiality within the meeting sphere?
Do not disclose anything confidential in your application or within your conversations, but investors, I think, expect you to be able to speak to your solution and its advantages without disclosing any sort of intellectual property or confidential information.
Yeah, okay.
And Stephen, if I can just add to Kate's comments, the investors are predominantly money people. Attending the conference, the 500 plus people that attend are many strategics and people that are interested in your technology and interested in connecting with you. So that's where if you present, they'll buttonhole you. They'll come to you and say, "Hey, Steve, loved H2O Genics, love your pitch. How can I help?" So there'll be money people there, but then there'll also be strategics and companies interested in what's the latest and greatest and how can they connect with you. So conferences, only that half day is speed dating. The other day and a half is the networking and the presentations and other global leaders presenting what's going on in the clean tech world. So it's a great networking event, not only for investors, but it's great for investors too.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Stephen. Any other questions? If everybody's very shy or we've answered all the questions.
A question I normally get is, hey, is my company going to be competitive because I'm either really early stage or maybe not even a startup, I'm a scale up? And I think what you saw from Kate's categories are that you can be really early and we'll slot you into that MVP stage, and you'll only compete against the companies in a competition in that very early stage. Or you can have a company that's growing rapidly that isn't a startup anymore, it's a scale up and you've got a lot of revenue. You'll compete against 9 other companies in that stage. So, you know, if in doubt, as long as you have an MVP and or if you're well into revenue, apply. If you're looking to raise money, multiple stages are considered. And like we say, some VCs, they want the super early stage. Some VCs don't only want to come in Series A or Series B, if that terminology works for the UK. I would imagine it does. But later stage investments, there are companies that just want that. So again, if you're in doubt, apply.
I've got a question. What's the most popular investment types? Is it convertibles or equity?
Depends on your stage. If you're looking for $250,000, and we're lucky, I'm lucky right now that pounds and dollars about convert. It won't last forever, I'm sure. But if you're looking for $250,000 to $500,000, convertibles are normal. And if you're very early stage, that basically a convertible allows you to avoid the valuation conversation and get started early. So there are a lot of companies, a lot of VCs that want to do that. If you've already had a round, it's almost always going to be equity.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
There's also another question in the chat from Ashima. It's, do these investors do follow-on rounds too?
Almost every investor that I know expects to do a follow-on round. So if they like you, you'll present a plan that has multiple rounds. Almost everybody does. And most of them will retain what we call dry powder. I think that probably translates to the UK too, so that they'll invest with you once with the expectation that they'll follow on. No guarantees, but with the expectation they'll follow on. And so yes, the answer is yes. Most of them will do follow-ons.
Yeah, they want to develop relationships with you to see you to success. And a lot of, I should also note too, in addition to this being a wonderful conference for entrepreneurs to connect with the investment community, it's equally valuable for the investment community to attend and network with each other. So they're building and maintaining and growing new and old relationships here. And it's another big part of why investors attend, and that group continues to grow as well.
Could you give an indication of the percentage of hardware versus software startups that attend?
That's a good question. I don't have it off the top of my head. I would say a good chunk is hardware focused, and this year in particular, we're encouraging more hardware based on the track preference. But as I noted, there are 10 slots dedicated to software only technologies. And certainly there's tons of hardware plus software solutions out there that would fall within the hardware tracks.
Thank you.
Another couple of questions are coming direct to me from Ashima as well. If it is a US investor, do we need to be a Delaware C Corp? Or is there an advantage if the startup is a Delaware C Corp?
If it's a US investor, they're most comfortable with the law around Delaware C Corp. That said, this is an international conference. There are many non-US investors, and US investors know that there are going to be many international companies. So these people, I mean, it's the beauty of this conference is everybody knows, it's been around for so long, everybody knows who's going to be there and what the intent is. So the investors come because they want to invest money in clean tech companies, and they know they're international. And the companies come because they know they're international investors there. So I would say, don't jump through hoops if you're not a Delaware C Corp. It's possible to convert to that if that's mandatory for the investor, but I wouldn't say it's a criteria for attending the conference and or applying.
I agree with that. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions? There has been a question about contact and follow up following the session today. I will send an email out with a link to presentations and also recordings of the session as well, just so you've got that as a reference point. I think one thing I'd like to highlight, which I think Mark has covered as well, is certainly there is a strong investment theme for the event. But please, if you're not looking for investment, I think equally it will be very fruitful to come along on this program, because the forum is for 2 days, the trip is for 5, so we'll be doing other activities outside the forum. I think the forum is going to be fantastic, whether you're going to looking to raise investment or not. But equally, the other visits which we'll arrange during the 5 days will be equally valuable, I feel, for the group. So please engage with us. I'm available to answer any questions you may have about the program, what we've discussed today, the application process, and help guide you through that process in advance of that 21st of October deadline. So please connect with me and let me know if you've got any questions. So just before we close, last opportunity for any more questions direct to Mark, Kate, or John. Looks like it's a no. So we're just 3 minutes off time. So I think me dropping out the call has maybe helped us keep to time. Might have been a bit earlier otherwise. So apologies for that, for the connection issues there, but hopefully you got everything through the presentations today. But as I said earlier, please feel free to reach out if you've got any sort of particular questions in advance of that application deadline. So thanks to everyone for joining us today. Hope you found the session informative. Thanks to colleagues in the US for taking time to spend time with us today. Please don't hesitate to contact me, as I said, and have a pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.
Everyone.